All right, thank you for your time, Phil and Ari. I appreciate you guys and appreciate you putting together that amazing documentary, The Invisible Pilot. There's so many different angles you guys are covering. You're talking about 80s politics, small-time family values, the effects of suicide on the family. How did you decide what to focus on? Because you only have 3 episodes. This could have easily been 10 or 12. How did you decide where to put your focus?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. And, thanks for getting that because, it sort of speaks to the many layers of Gary's life and the complexity of the characters. I would say we wanted a little bit of everything in there because we didn't want to eliminate, the variety of his life. There is this kind of weird Forrest Gump kind of feeling where you're like, wait a minute, he's there too, he's there too, he's there too, and get this sense that you're traveling through history with him as your vehicle, right? In this way. It helped to think of it in chapters. It really helped to think, okay, we know that we need the audience to be asking a question in episode 1. We want to really hinge on a mystery, right? Because we want people to feel as though they're part of this journey and they're part of this mystery with Gary and his family. So we really wanted to live in that and use that to sort of hook people into episode 2 and beyond. But, and then in episode 2, I think once you're in, before you have a chance to digest it, you have a small town crop duster who's really leading the charge in the 80s drug smuggling, generation. So it's this, it is a very kind of surprising moment. And if you think of him as this kind of shape-shifting character, which we do, then you get to episode 3 and all of a sudden you're in this political arena with, to your point, a lot of familiar faces that really have no business being in the same room as Gary Betzner, but they are, So you're right. It was hard to eliminate, but we did. And I think the show is better for it because it's very easy to go down a rabbit hole in this show.
Now, you mentioned with Gary, when you're analyzing his life, he seems very personable, but how do you think the audience is going to view him? Because audiences who like to take sides. Who's going to be the hero? Who can we trust? Would it surprise you if Gary is viewed as a villain to a lot of the audience based on the decisions that he made?
That's a really good question.
Really good question.
It's definitely something we thought and a lot about and grappled with. And usually the answer to these types of things is just to be objective and going in there and not going in with judgment and letting the guy talk and letting his family talk and letting the people who are witness to his experiences talk and just collect all these different points of view and present them. I think that there's definitely an element to Gary that could be seen as heroic to some people. And I think there's an element to Gary that could be seen as falling short, and to us, like, why do we have to choose, right? I mean, riding that line is kind of where we really want to be, because that's the complexity of the story is, who is he and who do I want him to be,
Now, one big thing I think this documentary says is, what is the American dream? The idealized version of you work hard, this is what you get, you get what you put into it. But I feel like this documentary almost exposes what the American dream really is, which is you take as many shortcuts as you possibly can. And if you can avoid accountability, great job. And I feel like that's kind of what the American dream is based on, what this documentary shows. I wanted to know if you felt the same impression as you were going through it.
Interesting. Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I think it's a really great point. I think that part of the reason we responded to it as much as we did, and part of the reason I think that audiences will hopefully respond to it, is you're right. It does very much have a lot of the tenets of the American dream. You've got, like I said, you've got somebody who's pretty ordinary, for lack of a better word, who becomes really extraordinary, right? I mean, I think that's fair to say, that he becomes extraordinary whether you like him or not. And great. You know what I mean? Like, I think you can see that as aspirational. I think you can see that as shortcut, personally, I don't want to do that thing where I say I think it's both, because that's not fair to you. But what I really think is that is that you sort of need, one needs the other, right? Like you really can't achieve great heights, or in my opinion, or achieve the quote unquote American dream if you're not willing to kind of go where he's going. I mean, obviously these are in extreme terms, right? And the question is how you define the American dream. But if we're talking about the American dream by way of reaching the White House, then who cares how you get there? You're there. So.
Very good point. Well, I appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to watching that debut episode April 4th at 9 p.m. So, all right, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.